Hey guys, today I asked my chat to tell me their weirdest and worst confessions. I made a video like this exactly 1 year ago, and it was one of my first Twitch highlights, so I figured I would do it again. And if you like the content, please subscribe down below, as I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year, and every subscriber counts, so I would really appreciate it. Alright, let's get into it. Let's get this party started. I was so tempted to put my sin as watching mockspade. That is a sin. You won't be forgiven for it. Let's start simple. Here's one for all you UK people out there. When I was a wee lad, no older than 1 or 2, my family had one of those scenes of Jesus's birth with the doll figures on it out for Christmas, and I accidentally flushed baby Jesus down the toilet. Do you think God will forgive you for that? Or do you think you'll just go straight to hell? Imagine this, like you go up to the pearly gates, he's sitting there with like his little notebook, and he's like, name, and you just say your name, and then he's like, I don't think you should be up here. And you're like, why? I've been such a good person. And he's like, remember that time you flushed me down the toilet? Am I a joke to you? And then he just like pulls the lever and you fall. I was with my ex for almost 5 years and never had an orgasm. I faked it every time. Where's my Oscar? At what point of a relationship do you just call it quits because of that? Like, you were with this guy for 5 years, so obviously either his personality was fucking banging or you just like not coming. No. This person is just really into edging. So they found somebody that would almost get there, but not really. They've been edging for 5 years. That's it. We've cracked the code. I'm gonna read this one. I'm gonna be judgmental. I have masturbated in a room full of my friends under the covers. We weren't sharing beds, and I was in a relationship at the time and just had to do it. How horny do you have to be? You couldn't even like get up and go to the bathroom. Do you like public stuff? I'm gonna get into some of the longer ones now. I spent practically months crushing on this girl. I, with my patented lack of confidence, plotted many different ways to confess my deep and undying love to this crush of mine. Though none of these plots ever panned out for me, eventually I made a deal with a friend where I would give him $100 if I didn't ask her on a date by the coming Thursday. That Thursday, I was barely able to squeak out a, would you maybe want to go on a date with me? Which she responded quickly and easily that she was talking to another guy already. That very night, I went home and downloaded a dating app. That's just an L, man. If women don't work out, you can always kiss men. When I was 8, my brother tried hitting me with a baseball by a river, and I knocked him over and he broke his jaw on a rock. Did you ever apologize? Because if not, W, you proved that you are the alpha sibling. Oh, this one is vile. I have smeared my boogers on my closet walls behind clothes for 15 years, and it looks like a solid color now. I am scared to stop. What the fuck is your problem? Why are you scared to stop? What do you mean? You could use a tissue like a normal person? It has to be getting on your clothes. What is your fucking problem? I'm just thinking, you know, maybe this stream was a mistake. I went out to the bar one night with my friends for a themed night and ended up making out with my ex-girlfriend. My friends dragged me home because I had to catch a flight 3 hours later and I haven't started packing. They didn't tell me I had her lipstick on my face until we got home. That's a W. Not because you made out with your ex-girlfriend, because that's... But with lipstick on your face, it showed that you got bitches. Spade, what if you snuck in your own anonymous confession to see how society would react? I don't need my confessions to be anonymous. I will just tell you shit. I have no shame. You can know it's from me. I readjusted my entire personality and all my tastes to get laid. Dated the girl for 6 months, but I ended up losing my temper and ditching her. Whispers, she was kinda egocentric and annoying. It was bound to happen. You sound really toxic. Here's my advice. Just be a better person. Look at yourself in the mirror, delete Tinder, get a therapist, and just get better. And send me her number. I am so in love with you. L. My ass too fat? I'm really sorry about that. Actually, I think I know someone that can help, but I do need like a photo, maybe like a couple to send them. Unless you're under 18, in which case, block me now. When I got my first erection, I thought my penis was about to explode, so I ran to my parents and asked them about it. You just run up to your parents, rock hard. What the fuck is this? This one is actually so wild, but one time I was at church camp, parentheses, sad face, and we made friends with this group of guys. One of the guys pulled my friend to the side one day and told them that he had fucked his younger brother multiple times, and my friend didn't tell us until the very last day of camp. and we had to hug him goodbye after hearing that because we wanted to pretend we didn't know. When we got home, we told his friends, and their only response was, "I didn't know he was gay." They are, in fact, from Alabama. Anyways, we later found out he ruined his whole life by telling his friends that he had to move schools. What do you say to that? I think that's just illegal. The fact that it was at church camp. Wow. Wow. I put the milk before the cereal. Why? Do you like things splashing in your face? Are you bottom? When I was younger, my friend stuck his dick in my car's tailpipe, and it got stuck. The fire department then had to come and remove his dick from the tailpipe. You're not a man if you haven't thought about doing that. There is at least one fleeting thought that a man has had about sticking his dick into anything that vaguely resembles a fleshlight. So you have, Spade? Yes. Yes, I have. The second you are a man, or you become a man, and the testosterone gets to your head, you just start thinking that shit. I vaped when I was 12, but now I can't stand vape/cigarettes at all. That's not a confession. That's what I call growth. You have become better. W post. I thought I was straight until my sister kissed me on the lips. Parentheses. I'm female. If your sister turned you gay, can your sister turn me straight? Since she just changes sexualities. Because if that's the case, that's a groundbreaking conversion therapy tactic that you just found. The Christians are gonna go insane. Next one, are you a bottom or a top? That's not a confession. That's a question. And the answer is, I don't have sex. I spent $2,000 on a game because it was the only thing to bring me joy, and I log on to this day because of the guilt. If it was Genshin, I get it. Or like any gacha game, really. This is the gamer. And no, it was Love Nikki Dress Up Queen. It is a gacha. Hold on. Is this just a dress up game? Love Nikki is an addictive dress up experience. You spent $2,000 on a dress up game. There was a Miku collab. I mean, like anything for Queen Miku, but like a dress up game. I stuck my dick inside a small tape circle thing. Clarification needs to happen. What size of hole did you attempt to put your penis in? Because that will change the story drastically. Scotch. I have some scotch tape. Let me bring it over, actually. You attempted to stick your dick in this. You succeeded in sticking your dick in this. How? Lube? I don't want to think about this anymore. Congrats on sticking your dick into a scotch tape thing. I stuck my dong in like thousands of things. If there is a final boss for sticking your dick in things, you are that final boss. I want to move on from talking about your penis. Goodbye, penis man. A real confession for mockspade. I once fucked a guy in my choir's practice room, and I shit you not, the chorus harmonized as he came. You just became the main character. Congrats. You're now gonna be in the movie. Spade, have you given up hope for this world? I like to think that the world is doing okay. And then some people talk about people banging their siblings. And then I just kind of have to sit and think. Would I nuke the world if given the opportunity? And I think about it for way too long. Do I have any confessions? I do have one thing that haunts me all the time. I was like 11 and I was taking guitar lessons. And these were guitar lessons that was this underpaid guy and 2 other people besides me. My favorite thing to do during this class is make fun of the teacher. I don't know why, but I started saying words like with random beginnings or like pronouncing words wrong because we were all sitting on the floor. I tried to get him to sit on a chair and I said shit instead of sit because I just pronounced the word wrong and I didn't know that was a swear word, and so I just said, "Oh, I need to shit on this chair." Everyone in the class looked at me like, "What?" And the teacher didn't say anything. And then after I did it like 5 times and my mom looked at me from the doorway and was like, "What are you doing?" And he was like, "You're saying a swear word." I realized it was a swear word because no one had told me it was a swear word, and I stopped saying it and we continued the lesson, and I was fully embarrassed for the rest of the time. I was a little bit dumb, but you know, kids, what are you gonna do? However, on that note, chat, I think that will be the end of the stream. Make sure to subscribe to my YouTube as I'm trying to hit 500 subscribers by the end of the year, and every subscriber counts and it would mean a lot to me, and I hope you have a good day. See you in the next one.